All right, my friends, it's Cami here from the blog Tidbits, and it is day 5 of my mini series all about checkerboard flooring. Thanks for sticking with me, and I hope you have enjoyed the inspiration. If you need to catch up, you certainly can do so on my blog or channel, but today I want to share with you what I have learned and observed when it comes to picking out the tile size for a checkerboard floor. Not every space should adopt the motto to go big or go home. And I've noticed a bit of rule breaking is totally acceptable here. So if you have to be that type of creative person, let's explore some spaces with checkerboard flooring so you can pick out the perfect tile size for your space. A quick reminder, all the sources to the images I am sharing can be found down in the description and in my blog post, which I will link below. In my search for square tiles for our mudroom checkerboard floor, I noticed the most common square tiles to be found in 12 by 12 or 18 by 18. And I even found super-sized big ones in 24 by 24 and 30 by 30. If you want to look at smaller tiles, you typically have options for 4 by 4, 6 by 6, or 8 by 8. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of mathematics you could do here, but let's keep it simple today. And I'm going to suggest you consider these 3 things when it comes to picking the right checkerboard tile size for your space. So the first question to ask yourself is, will the tile size I choose lay out evenly from wall to wall? Now, to explain this, take a look at this beautiful space again. Now you can see how they carefully selected the tile size so that 4 black squares would run horizontally with an exact even cut on the white square before the border tile. Quick side observation here, borders seem to work really well with a checkerboard floor and can help you work with different sizes if they don't lay out exactly in the size you want. I can even see that the center lines in this image just line up perfectly with the center of the door. When you mix in these arched architectural details with the dramatic angles of the floor, you have design perfection right here. I think this is such a gorgeous space. I feel if you are doing like a long hallway or smaller space, making sure that your tiles are symmetrical on both sides of the room is pretty important and will likely help you decipher what size of tile you will need to create that balanced look. And you can look at this entry to see the same attention to detail for the tile size and how it created the appropriate midlines and edges. However, if you are working with a bigger space, lining up the edges doesn't need to be quite as important or noticeable. Now this lovely dining area, which appears to have either 12 by 12 or 18 by 18 tiles, could have worked with bigger or smaller tiles because it would not be as important to get all the edges the same or have exact directional lines. It's just not as noticeable in a bigger room. Now here's a beautiful bathroom in the Ham Interiors home that I've been sharing in my series. It's one of my favorite homes. Now I imagine they used this size of tile in the smaller bathroom because that is what was being used throughout the rest of the home. However, that black tile nearest the window had to be cut, making the flooring not as symmetrical as it could have been had they used maybe smaller tiles or even a tile border. Now, it's not necessarily terrible to have to do something like that, but it would have been less noticeable with smaller tiles. Now, in the instance of this bathroom, I do feel like the tiles are too big for the space, and you would be able to see more of a pattern had they gone a bit smaller. These tiles are so big for such a small space, you hardly get any complete view of the tile pattern. So you could set a general rule of thumb to say smaller room, smaller tiles, bigger room, bigger tiles, which is a safe place to start, and clearly it worked well for this big dining room to have these big 30 by 30 tiles. But we all know the saying, rules are made to be broken, so when determining your tile size, you could also ask yourself this second question. Do you want more of a dramatic design impact or a more subtle one? In my observation, the smaller the tile, the more noticeable and dramatic the look you get. It just looks busier with smaller tiles, which might be the goal. So take a look at this green and white checkerboard floor. It looks like 4 by 4 squares to me, and it creates a very dramatic floor. It would likely be the very first thing you would notice walking into the space with otherwise very simple furniture. You can see how they even moved the small tiles up the wall. Now this space also seems to have maybe 4x4 tiles, which draws your eyes to them immediately. It makes for a busy pattern on the floor, but the subtlety of the rest of the design choices really make this work and make the space feel balanced and interesting. Let's look again at this outdoor studio McGee space that I love so much. It is a very large open space, but I think they used relatively smaller tiles than you might think would be the best choice for this large area if you were trying to keep with scale. But I think it looks extremely well. They could have gone bigger, but again, I think the smaller tile choice made for a more dramatic impact in the design. Now contrast this perhaps to this image again, where I feel like the size of the tile is more at scale with the size of the room. So something else that might determine the size of tile you choose is what size is available to you in the style you want. So you may luck out and find the exact color and material in the size you want, but sometimes what is available in the market or for your budget is different than what you want, and you might have to be a bit more flexible. I love the size of this tile when I saw this entry space and used it for my inspiration when designing my mudroom floor. My guess is that it's like an 8x8 tile. I also really wanted honed marble, which I could not find available in that size. So I had to make the choice between more readily available 12x12 honed marble tiles or settle with black and white ceramic tiles, which were actually more difficult to find in my budget, believe it or not. I opted for the 12x12 honed marble, and I think it looks great, even though I know 8x8 would have looked nice too, had that been an option for my preferences and budget. So my advice here is to make sure you know what size is available for your tile preferences before you set your heart on a specific size. All right, I hope that was some good food for thought to help you design your own checkerboard floors. I've got one more video in this series coming up where I'm actually going to share some tile shopping sources for you so that you can get a jump start on finding where to buy your tile for your own checkerboard floors. This is something that took me a very long time for myself, so hopefully that helps. Let me know in the comments below if you prefer smaller or larger tiles in this checkerboard look. I think it would be fun to hear what you think. And then make sure you're subscribed to my channel and blog at tidbits-cami.com, and I'll be back with more inspiration for do-it-yourself living. Thank you for watching.